As much as I love just being surrounded by nature and being alone and listening to the birds and swimming in creeks and swimming in the ocean, I also really love the things that come with the human world, like almond butter and classes and people and videos and creativity. And so sometimes I do find myself in that paradox of I love the excitements that come with the human world, and yet it's important for me to not get wrapped up in the chaos of it. As much as I love the forest and the stillness of it, I also really feel connected to my purpose on earth in this lifetime as a human. And for me, that feels like being a human and being surrounded by other people and creating art. And so much of what I have discovered through my purpose has to do with being in the city and being inspired, being in the human world in that sense. I've had so many moments throughout my life where I've been like, should I really be living in the city? Like, I could be in the forest and just surrounded by nature and learning so much. And yet I feel like I have learned so much through finding my inner forest in the city and finding my stillness in the noise and just making the absolute best out of whatever, where I live, what I do. Finding the best in it has been a tool that has helped me to find the best in life in general, whether it is loud or quiet or chaotic or still or intense or calm. Finding the best in it has been the tool. And so I love the fun of the city, and I love, the opportunities that I have here and the work that I do and the people that I know. And yet what makes it such a fulfilling experience is the fact that I have my home, my temple, my apartment to come back to. And I also have my inner temple to come back to always in every situation. Finding that peace in this city has been and still is a practice and has taken a lot of time and intention, and I'm still learning how to do it. But I feel like I appreciate stillness more because I know what noise is like. And I appreciate stillness more because this city is a place where there isn't very much of it. And so the inner stillness that I find within myself, and I'm learning how to find in any moment, any in between, any amount of noise, is such a more beautiful experience because I know what the noise is like, and it's there and it's out there, and you can probably hear it as the background noise right now, but the actual physical noise of it, the energy of it, doesn't affect me as much as it did when I moved here because I've learned how to be within myself and find my stillness from within. Before I moved here, I had such a connection to the forest, and I loved being outside and just felt really connected to nature and the earth. But I feel like now I feel even more connected to earth because I live in concrete, and because the fact that there's a little bit of grass growing up from the sidewalk is the most beautiful expression of nature. To see something prevail through a place that doesn't have much life, or the way the sunlight streams through my window, or on the occasional cloudy day, just seeing the clouds and the occasional rain, I feel like I appreciate it so much more because I don't get that much of it. And not having nature around as much in my surroundings has made me look for it more and made me find it more. And not only that, but made me find it within myself more. And I think that's the best takeaway I've had from living in the city and learning how to live slow in the city and learning how to live simply and mindfully within my own home and within my own self, is that living in a place that is so noisy has made my quiet even stronger, has made my stillness even stronger, and has made my intention even stronger. Because every morning when I wake up, if I don't do my morning practice, which I haven't missed a day in almost 2 years, if I don't do my morning practice of yoga and meditation and journaling or whatever else needs to come in the morning, if I don't wake up early and do that first, I'm so impacted by the noise of the outdoors. And so my inner world has become so important. I don't have as many moments to bake a loaf of bread or take a really long time at an art piece because it costs a lot of money to live here and therefore I work a lot. But I found those slow moments, those simple moments in the in-between ones. And not just like having a ton of time to take it easy, which sounds amazing, but knowing the importance of what happens when I sit on my couch, even if I only have 5 minutes, if I'm on my phone or if I'm just sitting and paying attention to the room, paying attention to the way that I feel. That decision of being distracted or being intentional is what shapes my experience of living in this city, because it is such a loud place and it's so easy to get wrapped up into it. But those in-between moments, those intentional decisions are what make up my experience of living here. Whether or not I feel drained by the amount of people that there are or the lack of nature, even though, LA, there's a decent amount of nature here. We have the ocean, we have all the good stuff, but it's definitely not a forest. I feel like not living in the forest as I did when I grew up, I've learned to find the forest within me, and the simple, slow moments have become the most important ones because they define my experience of how I live here. They define my work and my inspiration, and I almost feel so much of the time like I don't even live in a city. Sometimes it does get to me and I'm like, I miss the forest and I need a vacation, and I take them. But I feel so often I'm like, forget that I live in a city, because my apartment is my cottage and my inner world is my temple. And I spend so little time when I'm not working on my phone or on my computer or watching TV. I spend so much time doing art and writing and reading. And I've come to appreciate those things so much more, because in a place that is so loud, the inner stillness needs to be stronger than ever. That has been a huge lesson for me from living here. I remember when I first moved here, I wanted to move to Hawaii shortly after. I just felt like I'm gonna go to LA, live here for a year, and then move to Hawaii. And I still would love to spend a lot of time in Hawaii. I don't think I'm a full-time LA person. This is where I am right now, and I'm loving it, but open to more tropical nature in the future, balanced with my city time. When I first moved here, I did want to move to Hawaii. There's a quote that I'll always remember, because shortly after I moved here, a friend said it to me, and because I was daydreaming about Hawaii and not being in the city, and they said, I can't remember, I think Ram Dass might have said this, but I could be totally wrong. It's a quote. But anyone can go up on top of a mountain and become enlightened, but it takes a special type of monk to come down to the city and not get mad in traffic. And I think that's been my whole experience here, is like, I don't want to just go off into nature and not experience the human world because of how hard it sometimes is to experience it. I want to be so strong within myself, within my own inner peace, within my own inner quiet, that I can go into any situation and just smile and enjoy it and accept it. And that's been my whole journey here. And a huge reason why I think it's been so important for me to live here is I appreciate the forest so much more because I don't live in it. And like I said, I would love to have like another home in Hawaii or Hawaii. I love it there. But that's just not where I'm at this stage in my life. That is a huge dream of mine. But I am inspired once again in this lifetime. We're always changing, everyone's path in their life is different. But in this lifetime, I feel so inspired by the balance of the human world and the natural world. And so for me, learning to live slow here and learning to enjoy all the little moments, although challenging, has been the most rewarding thing. And I think I've grown so much from it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that because in a lot of my videos, I do talk about the small moments and the simple moments and slow living. And that is a huge part of what shapes my inner world. However, the reality of my outer world is that I live in a city and I work in social media and, I love, I actually am a little bit of a hermit. Like I do have a lot of social moments, but I'm not like, I prefer hanging out with like 2 to 3 people at a time as opposed to like 20. So I do live my little hermit city life a little bit, but I love that I can go to Whole Foods and get like really good almond butter or, whatever vegan cheese I want to splurge on, or like that stuff is so nice. So I'm always in the balance of it. And I think the beautiful thing about life is that it's always changing and we're always changing. And my perspective in a year, 6 months, 1 month might be totally different. But for right now, reflecting on what it's been like being Chelsea for the past 4 years in Los Angeles, this is where I'm at. And I thought I would share that because it's easy to see someone else's life and think that you can't live it, and see someone else's cottage in the middle of the woods like I dream about all the time. And I'm like, I kind of want that, but I'm here. It's so easy to see that and think that we can't have that for ourselves. But what I've learned is that it's not the external, it's the internal. So it's not about the cottage in the woods. It's about the cottage in the woods that lives within me. And that's been so huge for me. And so I just want to share that because in our world of social media, one of the beautiful things is that we get to see into so many different people's lives. I think it opens up such interesting perspectives of like what possibilities there are for living as a human on this earth. And that's such a beautiful thing as long as it doesn't take us out of our own experience. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you're doing well and taking care of yourself. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day today.